Here with reaction, Fox News contributor Ari Fleischer and the author of The Coming Collapse of China and the Great U.S.-China Tech War, Gordon Chang. Gordon, let me start with you about this. I am watching saber rattling, the likes of which I've never seen before. We may now, within hours, perhaps days, have a confrontation in the South China Sea with the Communist Chinese. They know nothing happened when that balloon was flying all over the continental U.S. and over Alaska's airspace. They know that we did nothing when Russia took down a drone. Clearly, they have made a determination that this president's not going to act. That is my take. What is yours?
I agree with you, Sean, because, flying that large balloon over our nuclear weapons sites, in other words, they were preparing for a first or second nuke strike on the U.S. That showed utter disrespect, utter disregard for the United States. And they saw the reactions of the Pentagon to this and the reactions of the commander in chief. And there was complete disarray. We could have shot that balloon down over Alaska, over Canada, over uninhabited land, and we didn't do it. So there was a failure of the highest order. And we have seen the collapse of America's position around the world, all of these places that you mentioned. And this is happening because Biden has gone back on successful American policies. President Trump had the most successful Middle East policy of any American president since FDR. And Biden has had the worst. Trump should have gotten a Nobel Peace Prize for the Abraham Accords. But, of course, the Europeans wouldn't do that.
Well, I should have gotten the Pulitzer over the New York Times, but that's a different story. This is so serious to me, Gordon, what you're saying. And obviously, Joe Biden has abdicated the role of the U.S. in the free world, but also the world in general. And now it was clear, the Saudi decision, a very conscious decision, not only did they allow China to broker a deal with their arch nemesis, Iran, next to Syria, but now they also reduced the production of oil, by 1.3 million barrels a day, which will raise prices because the U.S. is out of the domestic energy production business.
Yes. And, President Trump, one of the first things that his national security team decided was that the U.S. was going to maintain energy independence, and we were going to pump oil and gas and use it to sell to others and to get them to follow American policies. This was great policy. And Biden has just turned his back on it. And that's why we have the collapse of the American position. We've never seen this in our lifetimes. We're now back at the Carter era of the U.S. being considered the weak person in the world. I mean, this is incomprehensible, Sean.
There was a moment, Ari Fleischer, during this President Xi and Vladimir Putin summit at the very end, and I know they wanted this to go viral. I know they wanted the world to see it. And that is President Xi saying that we have an opportunity that we have not seen in over 100 years. My interpretation of that is they now want to be the sole dominant superpower in the world. Do you agree or disagree?
No, I think they both want to. And whatever happens that takes down America, that moves us down several notches, that weakens us, is all what they want. Look, this began with Barack Obama's refusal to enforce a red line against Syria when Syria moved chemical weapons. It started with a red line in Syria, and it's continued to a balloon with China. It's the weakness of the American president. This did not happen under Donald Trump, and it happens now because they measure us, and they measure Biden, and they see weakness. And Sean, you just said it right. The failure to take down the balloon right away, and just what the Russians did over the Black Sea, international territory, when they shot down an American drone. What did we do to respond? We sat on our hands. You don't think foreign nations observe this? Not only China and Russia, but Iran and North Korea, too. And what also then happens is nations like Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, our allies in the Middle East, Egypt, they start to hedge their bets. They don't think they can rely or count on America the way they did when we took out General Soleimani of Iran. So they start to cozy up to China and the others. Look, when Donald Trump was in office, the Arab nations made peace with Israel. Now they're playing footsie with China. It's because of Joe Biden.
And Gordon, let me go back to you, because they're lecturing the United States and our elected officials. They're telling our elected officials that, in fact, they can't go visit our ally, Taiwan, or there'll be repercussions. They didn't even want Speaker McCarthy meeting with the Taiwanese president in California, for crying out loud. They think they can lecture us and threaten us. Go to the Drudge Report. China ready to fight. It goes on. Rare carrier confrontation showdown with U.S. Navy. I can't imagine for a second that would ever happen with Donald J. Trump as president, because I genuinely think they feared him and they had a belief that he meant it, that he might be crazy enough to do it. And that fear was a great motivator to prevent them from doing a lot of this stuff.
Yes, it certainly is. And Sean, you mentioned what's going on in the Taiwan Strait. Right now, there are 3 large navies that are in close proximity to each other: China's, Taiwan's, and ours. This is exceedingly dangerous. We have seen China with these dangerous intercepts of American planes in international airspace. And it shows, again, that disrespect for the U.S. That means, you have a Chinese military corps. They know better, but they do want to go to war. And we have a political system in China that is actually encouraging Xi Jinping to do the same thing. This is dangerous, and Biden and the Pentagon, they have no clue as to what's occurring inside China.
And Ari Fleischer, I don't think Joe Biden will do a thing if they confront our carrier in that area.
I'm not sure about that. I think that if there is military action taken against one of our naval warships, he'll have no choice. How could he just sit there silently and let that happen?
Well, how could he let a spy balloon fly all across the U.S. and not lift a finger?
Yeah, I think there's a difference between that and an active naval ship that has United States personnel aboard.
What if they just try a blockade? I bet you Joe Biden would turn around. That's how little faith I have.
Yeah, a blockade is different, Sean, and I would worry about that. I would worry about Joe Biden's fortitude about a blockade.
Yeah, he doesn't even know what it is. All right. Ari Fleischer, thank you. Give it up for Ari. Gordon Chang, thank you.